Hi everyone, this is Christina. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about my own experience with early access games. Alpha, beta. When you pay for a game, it's not quite finished, but it's still solid. For different reasons. I'll talk about that soon. When I was a kid, we would go to the store, get a CD, put in a computer, PlayStation, whatever, and the game was done in all its glory. But with things like Steam, I can suddenly get a half-done game, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. I feel when I'm buying an early access game, I'm buying a promise, a vision of what a game can be, and often you're supporting a small indie game company or a person that has a great vision, but not the funds to finish the game, and by selling early, they might get the game up and running to be something amazing. And that can sometimes be great. And but I got burned a few times. But anyways, on some of the games, I've been active in forums, came with suggestions, talking about bugs and fixes, and suddenly they implemented something to the game that was similar to what I suggested. I'm like, oh, somebody's actually listening. Huh. Yeah, and other times, nothing happens for a long time, and the game fades into nothing. And all I have is a fun Act 1 and nothing more. Oh well, bit of babbling here, but anyways, let's get into some of my own pro and cons. Okay, let's down to the gritty stuff. Often when you buy a game that's early access or alpha, whatever, you get them a bit cheaper. You don't pay full price. And so what's good about that? You save a few pennies. Every little bit counts. A big con though is that sometimes you think you're getting a farming game and you end up with a bungee jumping game somewhere. Somebody lost their vision on the track and you're like, hmm, this is not what I signed up for, but it's bought, so what can you do? There has been games where I got early access. This is a good thing, where they reward you with things like a cool T-shirt, some robes, and things like I got some cool stuff from Sandrock and from Baldur's Gate from being early access. That's good. But then there's the bad things. You know, you might lose your progress. New save games with every major change. One game I played, I stopped playing as I played the first part so many times. I felt I was stuck in a time loop. I'm not talking about the time loop game, but I had to do it over and over and over. The same tutorial, the same, you know, this and that. And I was like, ooh, I'm so sick of this game. Now, a couple years later, I still look at it and I'm like, don't want to do that again. And like I talked about before, if you're active in the forum, you talk about bugs and fixes and you implement, oh, I would like this or that. Why don't we have this or that? Sometimes they will listen. So, because you're basically, a test kitty. So, just got to go with the flow. Try out things and suggest, and yeah, good developers listen for feedback from their customers and players because that's in their best interest. And then you have this, which is a big red flag for me. Uh, Sometimes you feel like a company pulls out one game after another, early access. It has so much promise, but it feels like big empty shell of a game, and there's so many bugs. It's hard to, play, and then they don't update the game. There's no development. Suddenly, see they're making a game that's very similar, but with slightly modifications. So it's like a different game, but it looks strangely familiar. So always look into, the developers, what are the games they made, and their feedback on that gives you a pretty good idea of things. And also, like I talked about before, this is a big pro. You saw support a small indie company and a person you help to get their team on their feet. Not everybody has a big financial studio backing them, and they need, people to buy licenses and programs and things because things cost money. So yeah, that's a good thing. And then there's the flip side of that thing, it could be a 1 or 2 person project. Things takes time, doesn't happen overnight. Some of my favorite games has been in development for years and they're still not done and they may never be. So, but that's just one of the risks. So yeah, just to sum it up, I'm a very impatient person. So if I like a game concept, I get it right away. I don't wait for a game to come out in full. Oh, and a little rant there at the end. One thing that really gets me is that Sometimes people are making an early access game and they put out these little paid DLCs for the game and it's not done and it's like bug galore there and they can't even, at least make the game partially playable before they start making paid content. That's, for me, that's a big red flag and a no no. So, yeah. Oy. So, should you get an early access game? Well, that's really up to you. Me, I probably will. I don't have the patience, like I said, but I have been burned, so gotta be careful. Well, anyways, um, maybe I should mention my favorite early access games. I don't know if they're all in early access still, but that must be My Time at Sandrock, Coral Island, The Long Dark, Baldur's Gate, and Dinkum. So yeah, there's also a list of regrets, but I won't get into that. My mom always used to say, if you don't have anything kind to say, you probably shouldn't say it. So yeah, well, there you have my personal experience with early access games. So everybody experiencing differently, but this was my little take on it. So doesn't make you any wiser or smarter by listening to this little rant, but maybe it helps you have a decision easier, or maybe you got burned a couple of times like me. But anyways, there you have it. I'm Christine. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.